p.m. in the afternoon, and over at Santa Maricha's 10:44 a.m., 11:35 p.m. in the afternoon as well. I'll be back to tell you more about the storm in a little bit. Colleen, Joe?
Okay,
thanks a lot, Roberto.
We'll talk to you then. Well, Islip is taking no chances tonight. It has already evacuated Fire Island. The town is preparing for the worst, as we said. Islip has set up a command center at Town Hall. Officials say there they can keep track of the problems and aid residents in need.
This is supposed to be worse than the previous storms, and we would tell them to beware and to take heed and to take all precautions necessary. And if they are going to stay on the mainland in their homes, to make sure they have food and milk and candles, because unlike the other storms, this presents a problem of high winds. It's a combination of a winter storm and a hurricane.
And McGowan says the command center will stay in touch with local police and hospitals at all times.
Predictions of the storm have people all across the island bracing for the worst. In Bayville, a village already devastated by storms this winter, residents are battening down the hatches again. News 12's Matt Jablow reports.
It has been a beautiful late winter day in Bayville. A gentle breeze blew softly off the ocean, pushing the tide delicately ashore. But there are ominous signs of things to come. The boarded up and shuttered windows on oceanfront homes, the candles and batteries now prominently displayed in hardware stores and supermarkets. What do you got there today?
I'm buying some hardware to fasten down some things around the yard, some covers and trash pails and stuff of that sort, just to fasten everything down around the yard.
Win Froehlich's oceanfront home in Bayville suffered $30,000 worth of damage in December's huge nor'easter. Win said he's still rebuilding his home. In fact, his insurance agent paid a visit today. He says another big storm would be hard to handle.
The only thing we can do is just keep our fingers crossed and hope the damage is minimal, because there's really nothing that you can basically do here. You're unprotected from the elements.
Here on West Shore Road in Bayville, workers were out today bolstering the seawall that was damaged in last week's storm. They say if the storm tomorrow is nearly as bad as expected, their work could be washed away. Still, despite the dire predictions, some in Bayville and elsewhere on Long Island did not seem nervous. They said they'll deal with the storm if and when it hits. What are you doing in preparation for the storm tomorrow?
Nothing.
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 How come?
Because I've never had an experience living here that you couldn't at least walk to get what you needed.
But officials from the Red Cross are taking the threat of the storm quite seriously. Red Cross workers are on standby, ready to open emergency shelters on a moment's notice. In addition, the Red Cross is advising people to take certain precautions.
Having things such as food, bottled water, canned food, that is, can opener, hand-operated can opener, having prescription numbers available in case you do have to evacuate. You want to make sure that you do take your medications. You want to make sure that you do take your eyeglasses. You want to make sure that you make provisions for your pet.
At this point, of course, everyone is hoping that the storm proves not to be nearly as big as some are expecting, in which case all those tips will be unnecessary. We'll know soon. In Bayville, Matt Jablow, News 12, Long Island.
Now, if you live in the town of North Hempstead and need to seek shelter tomorrow, the Town Physical Activity Center on Evergreen Avenue in New Hyde Park will be used as a shelter. The number to call in case of an emergency is 327-3100.
And I'm sure there will be other shelters opening up, and we will tell you where they are when they do open up. Well, the National Weather Service says a severe storm will bring with it life-threatening conditions.
So it goes without saying then, if you don't have to travel, stay home. News 12's Danielle Campbell joins us now with more. Danielle.
Joe and Colleen, staying home warm and dry with a cup of hot chocolate may not only be the smartest way to ride out this storm, it may be your only choice.
15 years ago, this is what it looked like on the LIE near exit 48. Quite a mess. And if this approaching storm is all that it is expected to be, the expressway could look like that again. Police in both counties are gearing up, preparing for the absolute worst. The Nassau County Highway Patrol says they will have extra cars, tow trucks, plows, and emergency vehicles cruising the expressway, covering the roadway like a blanket, looking for motorists who may need help.
Unless it's absolutely necessary with the anticipated weather that we're expecting, I would suggest they stay at home. However, if they cannot, stay at home and must. I would first say that they should have snow tires or radial tires that will help facilitate the movement in snow, and also to leave enough room between the car in front of them.
Staying home may be your fate if you're scheduled to take off in the unfriendly skies. Chances are flights will be delayed, canceled, and area airports may even close.
We'll be trying to clean the runways and taxiways and the roadway system, but as you know, there's a lot of winds involved in this storm, and that will dictate just how much we will do.
Mimi Bruce and her 3 kids are supposed to leave for St. Thomas during the ferocious storm.
Well, our travel agent and the airline said, come down to New York, that's your best chance of getting out, otherwise forget it till Monday.
I do wish I could go to the beach, but of course, I also wish I could go sledding on the beach.
You might get the best of both worlds.
Yep. I could sled on sand, but it might ruin the rudders.
Now that's the attitude to have. If you have a flight scheduled to take off during the storm or you are waiting for an arriving flight, airline officials say you should call your carrier directly. Of course, if airports close, we here at News 12 will let you know immediately. Joe, Colleen?
Okay, thank you very much, Danielle. Well, while most people probably will be watching the storm from the sidelines, county workers will be in the thick of it. In Suffolk, the Department of Public Works spent all day Friday getting ready, even though Suffolk is down to its last $100,000 for snow removal. 120 employees, 65 trucks, and another 80 contracted private vehicles are all ready to hit the county's 1,500 miles of roads with more than 2,000 tons of salt.
We have a bare road policy in the county. So the first operation is normally to go out and salt everything. And then depending on how it falls, whether we plow it or resalt it or whatever.
And the same story in Nassau County. There are about 200 workers ready to clear the roads with 130 trucks. Nassau is already $100,000 over budget for overtime snow removal this year. Nassau says the weekend storm will cost $5,000 an hour in overtime.
When the night edition continues, another case of meningitis in Nassau may have some parents wondering about their babysitter. And the lawyer for the man who allegedly punched a Nassau cop says his client